My name's Tina Patel. Sometimes I often get asked, do I really need to use an architect? So today's video is really about sort of 5 reasons why you might want to think about using an architect. And it's not just for the drawings, really. So let's start for reason number 1. An architect is there to fundamentally protect your interests through the project. That includes adding value at design, making sure that you are kind of exploring ideas and options, but also making sure that you're protected through the course of the project with the right contracts in place, the right people doing the right work, making sure that the builders are executing the work properly and taking it all the way through from start to finish. So it does really go beyond just the initial drawings and the design layouts. So that's reason number 1. Reason number 2 is your architect is there to help you understand what is possible with the space. So, for example, if you're looking to do a small extension or a basement, really they're going to sit down with you and say, okay, actually, for your budget, you can achieve this, or for your budget, you can achieve that. Where do you want to sit within that? Really understanding and exploring the ideas as to what's viable, what's not, relative to statutory guidance, relative to parameters in terms of constructability, and what it is you're trying to achieve. So they're really going to try and understand what's possible, explore that, and then develop drawings and detailed designs that kind of reflect that. Reason number 3, they're going to give you a clear direction of what is required. So by that, I mean, fundamentally, you've got some drawings, but that's not it. You may need planning, may need building regulations consent, you may need listed building consent, all sorts of different parameters are involved within that. And as part of that, the architect is going to take you through stage by stage each process of what's required. If you're living in a flat, you may need freeholders' consent, for example. So you get a clear direction of what you need, when you need it, and the process involved for it. And that goes through to the building process as well. So what insurances you might need in place, what various factors kind of come into play, and all the rest of it. The 4th reason that you might want to use an architect is fundamentally to give yourself a stress-free build. They do this all the time, understanding what's part of a project, what's not part of a project, and take on all the kind of negotiations and first point of contact with builders if you so choose to use your architect to manage the build. So if you're looking for a stress-free building project, then typically your architect is a good place to start with. The other side of that, and point number 5, is your architect is likely to save you money. Critically, you are probably not well versed in understanding when something is going wrong in a construction project. Construction projects are complex. Even for a small extension project, we find, the smallest things can throw things out of kilter in terms of finding something that you weren't expecting below the ground or some strange form of drainage. An architect is probably better suited to understand what the problem is and to provide a viable solution that is going to have a long-term benefit to the project. Often, if you're just discussing that in isolation and in silo with the builder, you may get a quick fix, a cheap fix, but not one that is going to consider the long-term viability of it. And a prime example of that is something around sort of damp proofing and things like that, where you might not discover there is a problem until a lot further down the line. And we all know that there are many stories around sort of somebody having to rip something out because it's not done properly. That costs time, that also costs money, and so that's where your architect is likely to come in to save you some money. So that's kind of really, in a nutshell, 5 reasons why you would think about using an architect, which goes just beyond preparing the drawings, but it's really kind of maximizing the value to save you long-term money in the course of the process.